what happens when aliens take note of alien researchers. This is a story of Barbara Lamb's famous UFO researcher who hypnotizes and regresses alien abductees. And she is responsible for putting out a lot of information about the ETs and extra-dimensionals because of the information gathered in these sessions. Well, it turns out that the aliens or the beings took note of what she was doing and actually did something about it. This is fascinating. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Share on social media and comment below as I'm going through the story. Also, if you would like to support the channel to allow me to spend more time on these videos and this channel in general, please consider becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below. Channel members receive exclusive access and videos. Or you can simply buy one of my books. I am a novelist. I write fantasy and science fiction books. There's a couple of my books right there. Jack Connor with an ER. Find me on Amazon. Okay, moving on with the story. I really appreciate researchers like Dolores Cannon and Barbara Lamb for what they bring to the conversation, and they have brought quite a lot. I mean, Dolores Cannon alone has put out so much information about people's experiences with the being. And she is actually the one that regressed Barbara Lamb to recover these memories that she had. Well, in this specific example, she is the one that regressed Barbara Lamb to recover this lost memory for when she was abducted. And she was actually abducted multiple times, and she had multiple experiences with the beings. And every time she realized it, you know, when she had missing time, etc., she would get regressed. Well, so she had been doing this for years, doing regressions on other people for years, and putting out this information about what she was gathering about people's encounters with the beings. And the aliens, or whoever they were, took note of this. This is something that I've always wondered. You know, people like David Jacobs and Dolores Cannon, they're putting out all this information gathered behind enemy lines. I hate to use that word, but it gets the point across, because they're not necessarily enemies at all. They can be very, very friendly. And some of them, indeed, seem to be very friendly. And the people have had amazing, wonderful, very positive experiences. So perhaps that's the wrong way to say it. However, I don't know of a better phrase that gets that point across. You know, there's a demarcation line between where we are and where the other side is. Maybe beyond the veil, perhaps, although that seems to have more of a religious or supernatural connotation. But in any case, our peak beyond the veil, behind the curtain possibly, maybe that's a good way of saying it, our best peaks behind the alien or extra-dimensional curtain is these hypnotic regressions on contactees. And Barbara Lamb has done countless of these regressions, and she has put a lot of information out there about them. So surely the beings have taken note of that. And I have always wondered what they would do after taking note of that. Well, in this exchange, or in this example, we get some answers to that question, which I think is a very important question in ufology. Barbara Lamb actually gives a very long presentation about her experiences. I'm just going to play a couple minutes and let you see, starting from in the middle of this particular encounter, and she's recounting a regression done by Dolores Cannon back, obviously a few years ago when Dolores was still alive. And it's super fascinating. I hope you find this as fascinating as I do. I will have some comments when it's done. Here goes.
Maybe about 15, 20 feet away at the most, was a very tall white being. And he then started talking to me. not with his voice, but with his mind. And he seemed to know me. He said, "Ah, Barbara, good. You probably wonder what's going on," and with the current. And I said, "Yes." And he said, "We are recording your mind. We're recording the part of your mind that has the information about what you know from people you have worked with who've had experiences with other beings and have been finding out that in the work that you do with them. And we're very interested to know what they are finding out about from their experiences." And Dolores, who was regressing me, immediately piped in and said, "Barbara, ask him what they do with that information." So I asked him, and he said, so he could hear her. Now, how this works, I don't know, but he could hear her, and he said, he gave the answer to that. He said, "Well, we broadcast it." And Dolores Cannon said, "Well, how do you broadcast it?" And he said, "Well, we tap into certain signals and broadcast it on one of the signals, like you do with your television and your radios. And these signals are all around, and we know how to connect to them." And she said, "Well, who listens to this?" And he said, "Well, anybody who comes here from other places and who wants to know this information." Some of the people, well, I don't know he used the word people, but some of them who come here want to know what people are knowing about their experiences, and some of the ones who come here don't care about that. So they wouldn't listen to it, they wouldn't tune into that channel. It's like your system, again, your radio or television, you tune into what you're interested in and want to know about. So anyway, I thought this was a very interesting thing that this experience, you see, had happened for real about 3 weeks earlier when I was taken from the 101 freeway. And 3 weeks later, we did the regression with Dolores Cannon. And yet, so here we are at the moment of doing the session with Dolores. It was as if this was going on in present time. And also, it's interesting that he, from that previous 3 weeks earlier experience, could hear her now during the regression.
Whoa, isn't that fascinating? So basically the beings are content creators? Is that what we're getting? They're trying to get content for their channel? I mean, that's what it sounds like. That is totally what it sounds like. Yeah, we've got these channels. We're going to put it out there. We need to get information from you to put on our channel. I mean, that is just so hilarious to think of it in those terms. Of course, it's probably nothing like that. It's probably something totally different. Probably something more along the lines of a, public service. We've got beings coming in. They need to know what the Earthlings know and how to circumvent that, most likely. I am fascinated. I would be fascinated to learn if experiences with the beings changed after this event. After the beings gathered this information from Barbara Lamb about what experiencers knew about their experiences, did they alter their protocols and their procedures for interacting with human beings to circumvent the ways that people like Barbara were getting this information? It's important to highlight, I think, that Barbara's encounters were very positive, and I encourage you to go and watch the full presentation that she gives, because it is very positive, and I don't mean to suggest anything sinister by it. However, until I have my own interactions, face to face with these beings and am allowed to remember them, which is key. I don't fully trust recovered memories, under hypnosis. I think it's a very useful tool, but yeah, I always am aware that who knows, with the vagaries of consciousness and messing with people's brains, what exactly is going on. I would feel much better to have a conscious memory and a continuity of consciousness and awareness during my own encounter. If I ever have one, I've seen a UFO or multiple UFOs possibly. And it was a weird experience. It wasn't, no beings came out. I didn't interact with anybody that I know of. It may be a long time, if ever, before I'm able to have a face-to-face sit down with one of these guys and ask them these questions. One of the other interesting details that came up was the fact that as Dolores Cannon was regressing Barbara, she was actually able to interface with one of the beings that Barbara was encountering. And in fact, the main one that was interacting with her. And that is something you also get with remote viewing. Even though you're, viewing or whatever, in the case of hypnosis, these events that have happened in the past, these beings seem to exist outside of time in a way. And that's what Willie Stryber says, is these are fissures in the stream of time. They don't live in the stream of time. They visit the stream of time. And then they go back. So I don't know if that's what's happening here or something else. Maybe their consciousness just works in a very different way. It's when people regress to past lives, they're able to interact with those personalities that are going about their day-to-day lives, but they can turn and face the camera and just talk to you. And, oh yeah, I'm having dinner right now, and this is what I'm thinking as I'm having dinner. Where are you from? What do you eat? They're actually able to have like a conversation with you as they're going about their daily lives. And one part of their brain is aware of you, of the person, being regressed, or even the interviewer, the hypnotist. And another is not aware and is just going about their day-to-day life. So it could be something like that. The being that Barbara was talking to and that Dolores was talking to through her may not have been consciously aware of her or them in that moment. They may have, it may be like the past life regression situation where part of their brain is specifically on the moment, but another part is actually able to operate outside of that moment. So anyway, fascinating stuff. I love all this stuff. I don't understand it. It's trippy and weird, but I think it's very important to understand that the beings are paying attention to ufology. The beings are watching, and they are interacting with people and wanting to know what we know. Just like we want a peek behind the curtain to know, to see what's going on there. They also want to peek behind the curtain, although in their case, I think they know pretty much everything they want to know. They can just scoop you up and make a copy of your brain if all else fails. So anyway, fascinating stuff. What do you think about all of this? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.